Silence is the loudest thing on earth.
Yes.
You could have been doing anything at that moment, but the fact that you knew that I was up here and you didn't hear anything immediately made you pop your head up. Whether he was in the text, whether he was in the middle of a game, whatever the case may be. You could have been in a conversation with someone else, and the moment you heard the silence, it was the loudest thing on earth. It's probably why it's one of the most important things to break. I want to differentiate between silence and silenced, because that's another problem we have. Silence is the absence of that sound. Silenced is when somebody decides to proverbially put their hand over your mouth. So what I want to do today is I want to address 3 lies, and then I want to address something called rape culture. The 3 lies that I want to address, the first one being, and if you've been abused in any sexual format, it may be something that we don't talk about, but it's very real. And that realness is that it's my fault because it felt good. That's a hard thing to deal with. When you hear all the different things that people say, you've heard people say, oh, well, it was my fault. And they come up with a lot of the different reasons of why, but one of the things we don't like to talk about is that traumatizing, horrible, filthy, dirty experience was pleasurable. And for a long time, I had to carry that burden in my own personal experiences, because how can I complain about something that my body responded to? And I had to hear something just a year ago when somebody spoke to me. They said, if I put a piece of chocolate in your mouth, could you not taste it? Your body is built to respond. Don't think for a second because something felt good that it's your fault. That's the very first lie that we have to deal with. A lot of us can't get the healing. A lot of us can't even begin to talk about the situation because we haven't addressed the simple fact that pleasure doesn't equal permission. That's the first lie that I want to deal with. The second lie that I want to deal with that happens quite often is that we believe that sexual assault is a crime that's connected heavily with sexual attraction. Truth be told, it's far more connected with power and the desire for power. And the reason why this is so problematic is because we will miss that component. We will miss the reality that a lot of the experiences that we've had and a lot of the things that have happened to us, we find ourselves asking why. But a lot of times, even though we need to break the cycle or the silence, we also need to break the cycles. Right. Many of the people that did the things that they did to you had that happen to them and nobody ever addressed it. They didn't have an Esmeralda to come and allow them to have a voice in the situation that kept them crippled. I'm going to share one of my own personal experiences. Now, let me give you a little funny story. So this is kind of funny. You don't feel bad if you laugh. So, 3rd grade. No, I was being kind of short. So 3rd grade, kids are mean. That's my caveat. Kids are very mean. But I'm coming into class. Some of my friends thought it would be funny. It was this girl named Katie. And she was probably my height in the 3rd grade. She was tall. So my friends thought it would be funny to go make a little deal with her. So I was laying on the beanbag. I think everybody had beanbags when they were elementary. That was I wasn't reading anything. I didn't like to read. I just wanted to be on the beanbag. So I was holding the book. It might have been upside down. Who knows? But I have the book. I'm laying down. I'm reading the book. And they told Katie to go jump on me. And she ran and jumped on me. So she thought it'd be a little funnier. So she just started humping me while I was on the beanbag. Oh, that's not funny? I'm glad for those of you who didn't laugh, because truth be told, that's one of the most traumatizing experiences of my life. And it wasn't the personal experience. Because what happened after that was laughter. Even my teacher laughed. It was a situation where here I am laying on this beanbag and everybody's making fun of me. And I'm frustrated. And I'm angry. And it was a component of that hurt more than anything, because I had to deal with a harsh reality. And many of you can, it may not be comfortable, but truth be told, if the roles was flipped. Now imagine me jumping on that girl and doing that. You think that's something that would have been followed by laughter? No. Now imagine being that little boy and having to know that truth. And having to deal with what's something that was taken from me. Like I said, she was my size in the 3rd grade. I couldn't get her off of me. So I'm sitting back in the situation trying to process this. Because I know what comes along with making a complaint. I'm soft. I'm weak. Having to deal with that builds a frustration. Okay, how many of y'all ever watched the movie A Christmas Story? Y'all seen it? The most iconic part of the movie is when Ralphie fights back and beats up the bully, right? Yeah. Everybody loves that. Why do we like it? Now, we had just popped up a picture of Ralphie beating the brakes off this kid and cussing like Yosemite Sam. Nobody knew what he was saying, but everybody was like, oh. Now, we just cut to that picture and no backstory. You're like, wait a minute, where is this little boy doing? You might question a little bit, but nobody questioned because you know why? They got to see the entire beginning of the movie where this boy was terrorizing this little child. And when that child finally got the opportunity to flex some of his power back, nobody questioned it. Matter of fact, if truth be told, a lot of people was like, that's what we get. You were excited that power that person took at that time was now being reclaimed. Even though it was an act of violence. You might not promote violence. You might say that that's not what should have happened. It should have been dealt with a different way. But there was a good feeling that came back with taking your power back. I have a very uncomfortable statement to make. That's what a lot of your predators are experiencing. We don't want to deal with that. See, the problem with putting people in that position where they have to get their own vengeance and they have to retake their own power. It's hard to have empathy when my no didn't mean no. It's hard for me to have understanding when you want to talk about a young lady, there's something that happened to her when the same thing happened to me and I got laughed at. It's difficult. Now I want to give a caveat at this moment right now. Anything that I'm saying today in no way or measure takes away from anything that a woman is experiencing at the hands of a man. So please don't compare the two. It doesn't dismiss, it doesn't excuse. I'm simply giving you a different perspective. The third lie that I want to deal with is something that's not often spoken verbally, but we show it in our culture. A woman can't rape a man. Now, some people made that, I love it. Some people made that face like, what? That's stupid. But let me show you the culture that I'm speaking of. What happens when you look at your media today? Think about all the movies, anything that you've seen. When the sexy cougar comes out and she begins to seduce the teenage boy, how much outrage is there? Who's standing up to say, who put this filth on my screen? I watched a video of a young man. And this young man was sitting in a chair at a birthday party. It's probably his birthday. And a fully developed grown woman is twerking on this child. And as disgusted as we might try to be, it's not even the action that got me. It hurt me that the little boy was embarrassed. He was attempting to be okay, to appease the people that are around him. That's not what bothered me. The comments that the parents were making and the adults were making, that's what bothered me. The comments on the threads. Little player. Oh, get it. All of these things that we address and we deal with on a constant basis are very difficult. You know why? Because we don't address it. We don't deal with it. We don't see it as that. It took me to reach the age of 30 to understand that I had been sexually assaulted. Because we don't want to deal with the fact often in our culture, sexual assault doesn't exist for a boy. This story is funny. The other one wasn't either. But church. Safe, right? It's gotta be. We're talking about Jesus. We're talking about God. We're talking about people that believe, that are leading you to a life of salvation. It's gotta be safe. Supposed to is a strong word, isn't it? It usually followed behind by something where it's not. We say the word supposed to when we know it's not what it's supposed to be. So 9-year-old boy enjoying a good old Sunday full day of church. Boy, you feel me? Full day. Meaning we got up early that morning and your butt gonna be in the pew well after 5 p.m. Right there in good old Stanford, Texas. Oh, see, some of y'all really know, oh, it's really lasting out there. So, service is over, we're getting ready to eat. I go into the bathroom, and I noticed that the door didn't close. Somebody came in behind me. And it was one of the missionaries, one of the ladies from the church. She comes in, and she puts her hands down my pants. Now here's the problem. I don't know any better. My first thought, and it's kind of embarrassing, but you know what my first thought was when she walked out? You didn't even wash your hands. You nasty. That's my first thought. I don't know what sexual assault is. I'm 9 years old. We're in church. I'm supposed to be safe. You're not trying to protect yourself from these things in church, especially from somebody that's standing in the pulpit speaking the word of God. But the reality is that really wasn't the biggest problem. The problem was I went to go talk to one of my play uncles, which means, you know, he was like 18, 19, I'm 9. So that's like the big brother play uncle type role. So I come and I'm confused, and I come and I say, Sister so-and-so, why was in the bathroom? I'm country, so forgive me. I said, she touched my dandelion. You know what he said to me? He responded to me with a question. You know what that question was? Was she fine? That's the very first thing he asked me. My response was, yeah, she pretty. He said, then what are you complaining about? Well, I'd be happy if she did that to me. And at that moment, I got my first taste of the culture that I want to talk about. See, the problem is, when you build a culture of young men whose no doesn't mean no, or don't even know that sexual assault exists for them, you run into the problem of creating something. How many of y'all heard of rape culture? See, we talk about rape culture, and I've heard it on different formats, and I don't disagree by any means that we created a culture where it's normalized for men to sexually assault women. And the sad part is it's not even considered sexual assault. It's almost like normed rules. So if you go to a frat party at a major university, if you walk in the middle of a fraternity's step line, it's just norm. You get your butt slapped, you get groped, you get grabbed. So if you go into that place, that's your fault. You go into some of these fraternities, you go into that, when you walk through that door, You signed up for anything that comes with it. And that's absolutely wrong. But we have to understand that it exists. Well, I want to go to a different aspect of that rape culture. We continue to create the predators that we're hunting. Because my question to you is, why does a 13-year-old boy that was sexually active with a 25-year-old woman become 25 and then see something wrong with having sex with a 13-year-old? Even in I might get in trouble, I'm going to say it anyway. Even in AISD, over the past 5 years, it's been on the news. You got female teachers that have slept with their students. Some of them didn't even lose their jobs, they just switched districts. What is that telling? And let's not get to the threads on social media. Because what do the men say? They say, oh boy, why you tell? The response to it is, what are you complaining about? So when we continue to breed a culture that says sexual assault doesn't exist for me, when you have young men that grow up, and because it was a woman, now if a man does it to a little boy, we can talk about that. We might address that. But let's talk about even some of the backlash that comes with that. You're weak. Homosexuality. You gay. All of these different pressures come. So the boundary that you have to overcome to even be able to say that you've been sexually assaulted by a man might be even greater than a woman. But the issue is, for many young boys, and experiencing it myself, it don't exist for a boy. When is the last time you've seen a little boy that was hesitant to go hug a woman and he was protected? See, the problem wasn't just that this lady had put her hands on my pants. It's when I felt uncomfortable around her, I got popped in the back of my head and told to stop acting funny. I better go give Sister So-and-so a hug. Again, what happens if your daughter starts showing any type of uncomfort for a man? How many of y'all are just, you get out there and give him a hug? It don't happen. And if you do it, somebody gonna say something to you. Because you've seen that before. You're sensitive to it, and that's beautiful. Where is that for boys? How many times do you see, it's comical, you know, we make it funny, we make it laugh. How many times have you seen a little boy? Think about the older movies. The Little Rascals and the Dennis the Menace. You got the old woman that gets to pinch on and kiss on that little boy and he don't want it. But it's laughed at. Let an old man try to kiss on a little girl and she don't want it. Again, we're not trying to play the tit for tat, but we got to start seeing the contrast. Because guess who does see it? That little boy. When he sees that woman be protected, when he sees that girl at least be heard or believed to some degree, if she is bold enough to come out and say it or is made public, when he does not experience anywhere close to that same concern. I don't have to speak for nobody else. I speak for myself at this moment. It's infuriating. It can make you bitter. It can leave you broken. It'll put you in a place where you'll reject any type of healing because you want revenge. Healing don't sound good. Healing means I gotta let you go. Healing means I gotta let that happen, and I gotta let all of that you try to describe, I gotta let it continue to be over there, and I just gotta be strong and let it go. That's how it's viewed by us. Revenge? I want my power back. We understand it from a bully standpoint. Make it personal for yourself. Imagine being in the 2nd or 3rd grade and you've been beat up for the last 2 years. And your bully is wearing you out. All the tactics and everything they gave you to go with, it ain't working. But guess what? That bully got a little brother or a little sister, and they sound just like your bully. They talk just like your bully. But you know what the problem is? You can handle them. What's going to happen when that person approaches you? I forgot, we in church. Y'all don't do nothing like that. You know? Let me put myself back on there. I'm finna slide him. You gonna catch the uppercut from Street Fighter. Because I'm mad. And all of that pent up. When I see you, I don't even see you anymore. I see the person that abused me. I hear the person that tore me down. I hear the person, they groomed me. Oh, wait a minute, we talking about bullying, my fault. I got mixed up. Maybe I start seeing the woman that had permission to touch me. Maybe when I said stop, they laughed. Maybe when I was on the beanbag, they laughed. So why am I supposed to care about your experience? Why is your no matter when mine didn't? Am I trying to permission anything? No. But what I do want to encourage, if you don't get anything else from what I've shared with you today, my wholehearted request is learn to interpret the cry. See, here's the problem. When babies cry, as Esmeralda spoke on, they're crying one way most of the time. So when a baby's hungry, what does it do? Cries. When a baby's sleepy, what does it do? Cries. When a baby's wet, what does it do? When a baby's in pain, what does it do? You have cries. Now, how many of those cries come with the, wah, feed me, wah? That don't happen. Because that communication is not present. It's your responsibility as a parent to do what? To interpret the cry. So I have to be able to take that cry and understand that I can't just bring a bottle to the baby every time and think that remedies the problem, because there's multiple things that could be happening behind that cry. And I'm going to show you the number one thing that you have to deal with. Number one tool, and please correct me if I'm wrong if you've seen people walk in with it. Y'all ready? I'm going to show you the biggest shield that a kid that's been sexually assaulted will show you. You ready? Mm-hmm. Oh, yes. Smile. You know why? That's not what you're looking for. You're looking for somebody huddled over in the corner. You're looking for somebody who has a hard back story. You're looking for somebody in a single parent home. You're looking for somebody that don't match any of the other issues that we could possibly describe. You know what you're not looking for? You're not looking for the girl that has two healthy parents that may be prolific in their neighborhood. That may be big in the community. You're not looking for her. You're not looking for the young man whose father is a pastor. You're not looking for him. You're not looking for that person that appears happy, but that cries the same. Their need to be protected is the same. You can't protect somebody that you don't see is in danger. They're not going to just come out and tell you. Our vigilance will be the difference. And that's why I'm so grateful for Esmeralda for the opportunity to even come and everything that she's doing. But the issue that we're dealing with right now is, let's not leave our boys out. That's right. That's my request for you. All of the tools and everything that we're receiving today, pay attention when your son feels a certain type of way around the room. And understand that these lies have to be dealt with, and we have to change this rape culture. We have to stop creating the monsters that we're hunting. I appreciate your time and everything that you've done. Esmeralda, to give my last shout out to you, support this woman, please. takes a lot of boldness to do what she's doing. And she's saying a lot of things that a lot of people not comfortable with. I wonder why. She gonna need your support. And I don't just mean, I'm not excluding prayers, but I don't just mean your prayers. Light bill don't take prayers. I tried it. You found one to take? Okay, just making sure. Light bill don't care about Rebecca. They want a currency. So please be supportive. Thank you for the opportunity to speak in front of y'all. And I hope you have an amazing day.